So, hi. Thanks for jumping on. Do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself before we sort this all out?
Sure. Yeah. I started playing Overwatch when it came out when I was living in China. Played for a little while. Made some YouTube videos, and then a team called Blank Esports reached out to me. I coached them for about a year, and then as of October of last year, I started working for the Fusion as a non-coaching role,
Mhm.
doing some other stuff, and yeah, here I am.
Nice. Okay, so China. What ended with you? How did you end up in China? Because I'm not hearing an accent, and I've seen your videos. So you don't look Chinese. So why were you
That is
there?
correct. Actually, a friend, I'm a software engineer, so a friend asked me to move out there to help him out with an app.
Hmm.
So I was there for about 4.5 years, um, doing that for about the 3.5 years.
Uh huh.
And yeah, we made an app called Side Chef. It's like a cooking app, but
Nice.
it was a good time. Yeah,
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
so experience with Blink Esports. What got you into Overwatch coaching? Was it the YouTube videos, or did the YouTube videos spark from your from your team coaching? Like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? I guess.
So yeah, season one, I hit top 500, and I thought, hey, I'm actually pretty decent at this game. So
Yeah, no kidding.
uh, yeah, that was when like the ranking system was like 1 to 100,
Oh.
and I think I hit like 82 or something. I forget the exact number, but I
Mm.
started making. Actually, no. First, I started streaming in China.
Uh-huh.
That was fun. That really improved my Chinese. I did that for about 4 or 5 months, and I thought, oh, actually, maybe I can take this to an English-speaking audience.
Hmm.
But it's actually really hard to hit websites like YouTube and Google from China. So it was
Hmm.
actually really I couldn't stream, so I thought, okay, I'll just make YouTube videos.
Hmm.
And then from those videos, Blank reached out to me and yeah, and then offered me a job. So that's
Nice,
kind of how.
nice. So, well, I don't like Blank for personal reasons, but they're good. They're good guys. I do. They're the coaching staff they have now and the players they have now are great. So I'm sure your experience with them was awesome. Congratulations on the fusion job. How did you land that? I mean, I don't know how much of this is NDA and stuff, but like, how like that must have been kind of exciting to
Yeah.
get into that
So
position.
yeah, I applied for a job. It was actually like on Twitter. They were like, "Hey, we need an analyst to do stuff,
Hmm.
like an in-game analyst."
Yes.
After I had applied, I had a bunch of rounds of interviews, and they were like, "Well, you can do the analyst position. You'll get paid X, but you can do this other job that we think you'll enjoy more, given your technical background, and
Hmm.
get paid Y." And Y was a much bigger number than X, so
Well, that'll do it.
that's
That'll do it. Well,
yeah.
well, that's awesome, man. Last question, I promise. You had a series. You have a series on YouTube, which has been relatively unfinished. You have some like scripted notes and the different topics and stuff on like kind of
Yes.
how to be a coach, right? And I've read through all of it. I've taken notes on all of it. And I come
Wow.
from a coaching
I
background.
appreciate that.
No, no, I appreciate it because I come from a coaching background of a lot of different things. I've coached mathematics, football, gymnastics, children's activities. I'm a mixed martial arts head instructor. So a lot of that stuff was stuff I was already familiar with, but seeing it, all those concepts that I feel like a lot of people know, especially in leadership positions, but seeing
Right.
it translated and applied into how can I make an esports organization or just any plat diamond team better was really cool to see and very, very informative, very, very educational. And I have learned so much from going over that. I've probably read it through a half a dozen times. What made you decide to do that? And then how did you even start that project? Because I don't think people credit like that. That project looked like it took a lot of time. I'll be perfectly honest.
It Yeah, it did actually. Wow. Okay. So, what was your first question?
I guess
What
like
made me?
what sparked you to do that, and then how did you start doing that?
I think I was kind of going through a period of. So, if I recall, I think I started that project. Oh man, I'm trying to remember like the order of events in my life,
Mm,
but
mm,
I think I went through a bit of an introspective period where I was kind of finishing up my contract with Blank, and I was applying to a whole bunch of new places, new teams, and I was reading a lot. I got really into Jordan Peterson. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
yep.
And a couple of other. I watched. I religiously watched Joe Rogan podcasts,
You
and
heard the chat. That's the way to go. Okay, that's actually pretty
well,
funny.
I mean, like, because a lot of the stuff that I was kind of reading and listening
Yes.
to, it kind of made me think, you know what, like, there's like a level on, because a lot of analysis you see, especially for esports, is very on the surface.
Yes.
It's very, okay, you know, how can we improve this? You know, this strategy is not working, compositions, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, you know, it's not, coaching isn't so much about the direct analysis that you're doing. There's a lot of incredible, talented people who can do that stuff. But in my opinion, a lot about what coaching is kind of like the system. It's the recipe. It's not so much the meal, you know, so to speak.
No, absolutely not.
So anyway.
Absolutely not. I mean, especially in a lot of, you know, a lot of teams, especially with teams that have players with personal issues or like with, you know, they need the leadership. They don't know how to train.
Right.
That sort of stuff is important. It just struck me as funny, like the whole Joe Rogan thing. He does have a lot of experts in a lot of different fields. That come on and do present a lot of really great information. It just struck me as funny.
Sorry, I maybe didn't specify that well enough. It's not so much the things that Joe Rogan says, although you know, I agree and disagree with a lot of things he says, but like you said, he has tons of just incredible guests, and they can really kind of flex your mind and help you think of things in a bit of a different way.
Right. And I do like what you said. Like, it's not just about what you know, it's about like how you present it. It's about how you can help your team to accomplish the goals that you think are important, because a lot of it is like you could be the most knowledgeable coach in the world, but if you either can't communicate it and B can't get your team to execute it, which could be from numerous resources. I mean, it could be that your team has a bad training schedule, maybe there's some bad blood running in the team, maybe, you know, you're forcing it on the team and the team doesn't like that direction. Like, there's a lot of things that could be going wrong, and if you're not the type of leadership kind of guy, then that could be a real problem. So I really appreciate that. There's already, like you said, a lot of information on analytical stuff and compositions and things like that, but how to actually be a coach with your leadership and like how to direct a team, like that was good stuff. And that's not something you really see elsewhere on YouTube.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and maybe I'll go back and finish that. Like you said, it takes a lot of time to build those out. So
no, I respect that. Yeah, well, there's a lot of coaches that really appreciate it. I know IOStux, for one, as always sings your praises in that regard. So if there's any subs or any follow notifications, unfortunately, that will be a little bit over, but I've mostly turned that down. I might have to stop you a couple times, but for the most part, I'm just going to let you talk. Sound good?
Okay, great.
All right.
Yeah. Do you want to skip this?
Yeah.
Bit?
Yeah. We're running some form of death ball, looks like. Ryan Saria, McCree, and Doom.
I think I saw, is that a Zen?
Yeah. I think I see a Harmony Orb, maybe not.
Oh, what a jackass this McCree is.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, well, this is good starting ground. I like this. Oh, although right now, can you pause it?
Yes,
so
I can.
Right now, she's obviously in danger of getting like killed by a Widow. Grapple killed. So I don't like that she's peeking this right here, and I don't like that she's jumping. Yeah, so I would probably wait a bit more. I believe tab shows at 345, right? The enemy scoreboard. So I would chill for another 5 seconds before I start peeking like this.
Okay.
Or at least closer to the left where you have that environment.
So like where you have this little haystack kind of that's stuck in the way. You can't see me drawing, but I'm drawing for chat.
Yeah, no, actually I can see that. I can.
Oh, wow, phenomenal. Okay, lovely.
Great. Cool. So anyway, so I like that she's on high ground, but I think this is a little too greedy at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, don't like the jumping.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how bad jumping can be. Okay.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So you had something to say.
Yeah, so right now I'd be hitting tab and find out exactly what they have, because then you can decide as an Ana. Because if they're running goats, then okay, cool, you can just chill up here. If they're running something with a bunch of flankers, okay, then you might want to get a little bit closer to your team and pick a corner and find out where to post up. So they could still have a Widow, and she could still just get headshot right here. So this is already a mistake, in my opinion.
Yep. Positioning has context.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, so obviously should not have dropped. That was a big boo-boo. We still haven't hit tab to see the enemy team. That's still a huge mistake. And right now, we don't know if this positioning is good or bad, because it's not the worst thing in the world, if you're playing goats. But even still, actually, if you're playing goats, it'd still be better to be on the high ground. But anyways, yeah, we're basically flying blind here, and that's
yeah,
really
we
bad.
could be in transition to a good position, but we don't know what a good position is because we don't know what the enemy team is running.
Exactly, yeah. And this area in front of you, like this little canopy, it could actually be a good position too. But again, we don't know.
Right. Okay. A lot of Anas tend to like pursue shots and just fall off of high ground. Drives me nuts.
Yeah. Oh, but can you pause it?
Yes,
so
I can.
I already don't like this, where you're in a position where you have to swing your camera to see different teammates. Obviously, that happens in some contexts, but if you can avoid it, and again, we don't know where we should be right now, it's really bad to have to keep swinging your camera back and forth. So we're already seeing numerous mistakes before the fight is even started.
So like if you're on here, an optimal position would be as if, these are your teammates here, because your LOS is kind of encompasses this right here, right?
Exactly.
Whereas if if you're here, right, or excuse me, if your teammates are here, okay, and you are like in this position, this is a problem because you have an LOS here, you have an LOS here, and you got to be making that transition back and forth between those two to kind of see everybody that you need to see.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. What is this Doomfist doing?
I don't know.
Oh, and he's dead. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we're rotating. I don't know what's happening in the comms, but oh my god, I don't know why the tanks are going in there. Okay, so this actually really sucks for Ana. And I think we just saw, was that a Tracer in the back?
Yes, I believe it was a Tracer on left.
Okay, so this is... Okay, so as many... even though Ana's made a bunch of mistakes already, like the team is totally just screwing you up. So I think the best thing to do in this situation is actually not to go in that room, because that's too far. If you go in there, there's a good chance that you're just going to die, because you don't know what's on, what they see, unless they're calling it in the comms.
They're not really calling much. There's been some muffled words, but nothing really decisive.
Okay. So what I would do is I think the Zen was to our left. I would just stick with him. Just wherever he goes, I would just follow him at this point. These tanks are on a mission to die probably, and just hope for the best. But it looks like this fight is already kind of in dire straits.
Yeah, it's devolving quickly, that's for sure.
Oh my god, okay, so cool. So I would follow this Zen. He's trying to go back towards spawn, I think, and I would just follow him. So let's hope this Ana does that.
Yep.
Good heal, go. Okay, oh, now you're split. Okay, so yeah, to be fair though, if you go with Zen, you're probably gonna die anyways, but if you're partnered up with him, there's a better chance you hit that sleep dart. Actually, wait, is she casting it right now?
She is casting it right now, yep.
Okay, let's see if she hits this. All right, let's see.
Unlucky.
No, okay. So I think the better call was to pair up with that Zen, follow him.
Yep.
To be fair though, this fight was probably already lost.
Right. Okay. But I guess the thing is that's important to, I always talk about, is it's not always talking about what would have found success in this fight, but mistakes that we made that didn't really have an impact in the fight, but will have an impact in future fights.
Yes.
Things like getting a split, not pressing tab, that sort of stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Because you're just playing basically stats, right? You're just trying to increase your stats, make the best decisions possible. That way, over the course of hundreds of games, you will win more of them on average.
Okay, so we can kind of, I don't know that the player individually is actually taking any note of what's happening here, but we can see what they're running. Now, keeping that in mind, anything that you would say for our second point positioning here, because Blizzard World is still a relatively new map. A lot of players haven't really cemented out where they want to hold.
Right.
So anything that you see from this, we have a flanker, we have a little bit of range, we have immobile tanks. What do you think? Like, keeping that in mind as we kind of pull up here, what kind of?
Can you pause it?
Yes. Yeah.
So about right here, I would say high ground is pretty decent. You don't have a Widow to worry about. You don't have a Hanzo. There's no snipers. Obviously, the Tracer is a bit of an issue, but if you if in the comms or in chat you ask your Zen to pair up with you and you guys hold the high ground together, very unlikely that Tracer is going to have an easy time to jump on you guys.
Okay. They do have an Ashe, which is obviously not a one-shot, but would you respect the Ashe to an... I mean, you obviously don't respect the Ashe to an extent you would a Widow, but would that be part of the equation either?
If she had a Mercy with her, absolutely super dangerous.
Now, why is that? Just so everybody can understand.
The right click from Mercy.
Okay.
And just, a million other reasons like res.
Right, so that would be...
Just being pocketed.
So the damage boost on the Ashe is a one-shot, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just so everyone's clear on why that's the case. Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so positioning-wise here, thinking about that.
Yeah, and if you can't hold the high ground, if it's not working out because of the Ashe or the Tracer's giving you too much grief, then you can drop down. Actually, the room that Ana just came out of is pretty decent when the cart's pushed up. Otherwise, this general position underneath this bridge is pretty decent too. Okay. The bridge in front of us. It really depends on where the cart is.
Okay. Yep. That's obviously, again, positioning has context. You got to ask where the fight's actually happening. I like anything along these like poles and pillars. This room right here.
Yeah.
You like
Yep, the corner.
Yep. Okay.
And again, it's really important that she stay by the Zen if possible.
Yes.
And it looks like Zen's going aggro right now.
I can test it as long as.
And we're dying. Yay,
Ooh,
diamond.
I would not be. Oh wow, nice.
Hey, that was clutch.
That was a nice lead.
Oh my god. No aggro.
No fear.
Oh
Wow.
my god. Okay. Super aggressive. Not a huge fan of that, but it seemed to pay off. Actually, can we go back again? Really
Yes,
quick?
we
I wanna
can.
I want to see the kill feed like 10 seconds ago.
So we had lost our DPS at this point.
Can you go back a little bit more?
Yeah.
Did people... Okay, there it is. Okay, so Doomfist killed 2. That makes a little bit more sense. So this wasn't that silly.
I can test it as long as I could.
Okay.
There's no way I could get there.
It's pretty clutch.
That's why you don't jump, by the way. Like,
Yes.
this Tracer just created such a predictable arc. Right there. Just easy peasy sleep. Locks you in animation. You know, it's really hard to move when you're in the air.
Yes. Yep. Okay, that did work out, although, to be honest, I think that's a pretty risky play.
Yes.
Very, very risky, and there's a good chance you just keep this trickle going. But, okay, it paid off.
Yep.
We'll see. So it seems like this Anna likes to play very close to her team.
Is there no recall flanking right side?
It's not bad. It's not that bad. Although I'm not a huge fan that she's playing so up close. This is fine though. This is perfectly fine. And she let that Doomfist die. Can we see that again?
Yep.
So she's prioritizing the Tracer a lot when she could be prioritizing healing her teammates more. Obviously.
I think part of the reason why that caught our Ana off guard is because the Doomfist was
so
an
far
ult. And so there was no critical bar on his there's no critical bar on his screen her screen until the Doomfist was basically already dead.
Can I see that?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't hear it obviously. But
So like you can see on your screen, there's no critical bar right now. No critical bar. There's a Doomfist. He just landed, but he is too far to the left. And we didn't miss a shot. Well, no, yeah, unfortunate. I do like that we're adjusting our positioning based off of where a team is taking a fight. You know, I think we see either on different ends of the spectrum, either we see a team, Ana's that like, they're always on top of their team, you know, on top of their right here at all times, versus Ana's to go, this is a good position. I saw ML7, dude. I'm going to stay here. And if my team plays elsewhere and I can't see them, then I'm just going to flame my team for taking fights out of my line of sight rather than actually adjusting. So this is good. Like we could maybe be picky about like what corner, we're not really on a corner right now, but for the most part, this is all right. Would you agree?
Yeah. I would agree, yeah. So, but this part right here where she's going up, this I am not a huge fan of.
Okay.
Like, it looks like she's going up for a sleep dart. We just killed 2 people. I guess this isn't horrible given the fact that we just killed a bunch of people. But I feel like there's a good chance if you just stay on cart right now, all you gotta do is just heal up your team, and they're gonna kill this Ana for you.
Right. So you don't have to force this elimination. Do it for people who are more equipped for the job.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the next cart.
That being said, she's probably gonna kill this, but exactly.
Oh no!
I don't know about that nano. Yeah. If you look at the kill feed, yeah, this is very unnecessary.
On the next cart. On the next cart.
And that's also, we got a hard, you know, he's at half HP. It's just a Zarya.
It's just a Zarya.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Feels bad.
I think the Ana actually says, I shouldn't have done that. You can't hear it, but yeah, he goes, oh no, I couldn't have done that. So at least we're self-aware.
That's great, yes, because I was about to explain like ways to kind of help. Well, I guess it's still relevant. So in this situation, actually, can you go back a little bit more?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so pause it. Yeah. Okay, so right here, I'm trying to think. Is this person in chat? Like, can we talk to them or
No, they are not.
Okay. I just kind of want to get an idea of what's going through their mind. But I guess since they immediately realized it was a mistake, that's already like a huge, it's like leaps and bounds above what we'd want. So that's good because it's obvious this Reinhardt has like what, maybe 400 health, 300 something health. So
yes.
This is silly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We can roll.
Okay.
All right. So that was silly. Let's just go back, go find a spot.
I was gonna say there's a Reinhardt behind us. I just saw Fire Strike going past. So, oh my goodness. Hopefully our Zen survives.
It should be fine. Just heal. Prioritize the heals though, please. All right. We have Tracer in there to help us out. That's great.
Ooh.
Okay, so again, I feel like this Ana's playing with fire. She likes to play super aggro, and I'm worried that we're gonna come to a point where it's gonna stop working out. Let's see this. All right. Okay, see, like, these types of plays, I'm not... Wait, did you skip?
No, I didn't. Hang on. Come back, right? We'll pause it right there.
Okay, and then she turns around for the bob. Oh, okay, I see. Good, sleep, easy sleep here. Okay, nice, she lands it. Okay, so see, so right here, I would go back and position with that Zen. So again, she's playing like super close to the enemy team, and I don't know, I'm just not a big fan. I think play with your Zen here, because then that Tracer can't really do anything to you guys.
I think at this point we've got respawns. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no longer a pursuing staggers. Like, this is, their respawns have come back. We need to be resetting and reevaluating our positioning immediately.
Right. Yeah, and the tanks have pulled back. Like before, like you said earlier, where we're adjusting to our tanks going super aggro. Sure, that's great. Now they're not. Now the Reinhardt's literally right behind you, and it's time to find the spot.
We could see our tanks from back here. Not saying that's where we should be necessarily, but we have a big, like, long lane that we can be choosing from. And if our Zen chooses to play here, maybe we go here.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, see, like, this is
getting split.
Good. Yeah, we're getting so split, and that Doom this Ana could have healed this Doom. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so the enemy Reinhardt foolishly charged. I don't know what that was about, but that was a gimme. Cool.
And now we punish staggers again.
Yeah, and now it's the time where you can push up. And actually, weirdly enough, the Ana's not pushing up.
Yep.
Where she was before.
Right. And now we got to fall back. And I'm not sure what that sleep was, but yeah.
That was a really shitty recall.
Yeah, that would have been a low value sleep even if she hits it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. So here's where we finally pay the price for our position. So if you go back a little bit, she could have easily picked a corner and not get shattered there while still... Okay, so I think... Okay, can you play a little bit? Because I think she was going for that side nade, right? Like around the shield. That's what it looked like based on her crosshair. But it's so greedy.
Yeah. It really is very, very greedy. Now, the counter shatter is unfortunate, but... Like,
oh yeah, for sure, but especially at Diamond, I don't think you ever want to depend on your Rhine to actually block shatters. Like, if you just play corners really tight, you'll never get shattered as a support.
Right. Okay. Greed pays off in a bad way this time.
Oh, is she gonna try to die?
No. Okay. At least we died on cart.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, at least we did die on cart. But again, like, finally, she paid for all that greed that wasn't really warranted. Like we were saying earlier, a lot of those like greedy positionings, those aggressive positionings, she didn't even need to do that. The team was going to win the fight anyways. So here, actually, do you think she could have saved that Rhine with nades and left clicks if she had not got shot?
Yes, probably. I mean, I don't think the Tracer was in the equation at that point, so they were DPS down, and yeah, I probably would have said yes.
So just for like the chat, had this Ana positioned better, she actually could have at least turned that fight, or at least gotten more enemy ultimates out of that fight, or or just make the fight take longer. X, Y, Z, all of these things could have been better had we positioned better, and all those things add up at the end of the game.
Okay, so we're harping on positioning, but I hate to continue, but look at where we are right now, and I am not a fan.
Yeah, there's no corner. We're playing around. We're super close to this Rhine when we don't need to be. Find your Zen. Like, yeah, can we follow Zen for a bit?
So Zen is up here. He goes to high ground. So that would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I would post up with that Zen. Together, Zen and Ana is so scary as a Tracer.
This is just incredibly aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, if a Tracer pops out on us right now, where exactly are we going to?
Oh, and actually look, the Tracer is on the right, because you can see our Tracer just died, and you can see the kill feed. Yeah. Actually, is that our Tracer? I don't even know if that's.
Yep, that's our Tracer. Yep.
It's a Tracer. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's right there. Hey, there she is. And we died to her. Yeah. So had we been up there with Zen, or just picked like a corner where we can still see tanks and been further back, this Tracer has to commit more. How many blinks did she use on us? I think she blinked once.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So again, like, just make them use more resources to deal with you, because right now this Ana is making it so easy for the enemy to deal with.
Now you asked a question, how many blinks does it take? Make them use more resources. Why would I want to be forcing a Tracer to use more blinks to get to me? I mean, they're gonna get to you anyway, so why would you want them to use more blinks? Exactly.
Yeah. So okay, so let's use the example here. Let's say that the tracer had to use. Let's say you were posted back to that earlier spot we talked about, and she had to use 3 blinks, and then she used her pulse bomb. Well, now the rest of your team has an easier way of dealing with her, right? Because now she has less resources to deal with them. So even though you died, you're giving your teammates an easier chance of survival.
Okay, so like I think like the chat
and there's more. Go ahead.
Go ahead, continue.
So the other chance is that, or the other example is she has to use more resources, and then by her expending so much, you're basically wearing her thinner. And then in the fight against her, you're more likely to use your abilities more effectively, like sleep darts and nays, and you can juke more because there's more time for you to deal with her. So not only makes your fight easier, but even if you still die, it's going to make your team's lives easier.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
And our Ryan is going gung-ho in the back line.
In true diamond form, the Ryan's charge way too much.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we're winning this fight.
Kree right above us.
So, like, about right here, this Anna could actually just chill roughly in this general, like, area. Like, maybe not this exact spot, but, like, she has pretty good sight lines.
I'm a big fan of this position up here. This position up here is really, really big. I mean, depending on where the cart is being taken, like, I would be here, and then I would rotate back this way to where the fight is on cart. Would you think that's all right?
No, I think that's great. And what I was just about to mention is what sucks about this spot that she is in right now is she's totally open to a flank on the right. Right there, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So what you were saying, to post up there, I think is great. And then again, like this room to the left would be perfectly fine. Yeah. Yep.
Hey, look at that.
Nice.
All right.
Great. Yeah, it's great.
Wait, stop. No. No. You can go to high ground towards your spawn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This
no! All right, guys, we need some horror movie music going on here because this is. Oh no, this is just going from bad to worse.
So I love the fact that she went for high ground. Just that was not the spot for it.
Yes,
it's right in front of her, like you said, the one towards spawn.
Yeah,
if you're gonna go for high ground. That's the play. And again, context. Dear. And again, like we're talking about this at this point in the map where the cart has pushed up. If the cart had just got capped. Then sure, like that's maybe not that bad depending on where your tanks are set up. But now that the cart is almost at the end, this is a horrible spot. And actually, wait, and why did this Anna decide to go through main? Like this is so...
I do not know. This is not the way you should be looking at a Reinhardt shield if you're playing Ana.
Okay, so first mistake, not going for high ground on the left side.
Okay.
Second mistake was going too deep into that room, which is now to our right. And then the third final mistake, which was going through main, through enemy line of sight to get back to your shield. Yeah. When you could have at least gone back through the room on the right, which is now on the right.
You could have gone just back the way you came. And wow.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, just fall back. Yeah, I would fall back.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why Zarya's in there by herself, but okay.
Another symptom of being this aggressively positioned. You get shattered, you get grabbed, you get everything thrown your way.
Yeah, and so like we were saying earlier, like earlier in this game, it was paying off for her to be that close. Like she was landing sleep darts, she was getting good nades. But again, there comes a time where eventually, unless you're like just popping the fuck off with all of your abilities, you're gonna pay for that. Because if you're like a GM and if you're smurfing at diamond, you can do stupid stuff like that and you'll get away with it because your mechanics are so good. But if you're a diamond player, you're playing at diamond, you need to play like a diamond player and just play smart.
And I think it's important to say too that you can watch people like Jonak and Twilight and all these great Anazen players, playing aggressively on the ladder at their rank. But something that is beyond the scope of the VOD for today is understanding the context and timing of when they are doing that, like why they're doing that. Like we discussed earlier, like what is the enemy team running? Like if you're coaching a bronze player, you probably don't even get as much into that. You're going to be focusing more about basic rules of the game. Well, now you're diamond, like you've got that basically down. Now we have to start asking those questions. But it's important for a diamond player to look at a GM player and say, okay, this is how they play. They're playing very aggressively, yes, but why are they playing that way? How are they getting away with that? Like, when are they doing that? What is the enemy team running? Where is their team positioned? Like, what is the status of their cooldowns? And at this point in the game, I don't think that you want to, like, you have to understand the rule before you understand when you can break the rule first. And right now we're not showing that we have a good application of the rule. So I don't think it's like there are many times in which you could play aggressively, right? And we've touched on a few of those. But for the most part, we just need to learn how to play properly before we know when we can play improperly, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Which is basically just to play like the safest way. And we're going for wow. Okay, let's see if she lands this. I'm curious. I think she got this.
No, she bumped it. She flicked it or something. She flicked it off at the last second. Yeah.
It looked good, and then she moved it to the left. But still, this is silly. Like, why? Why are we here?
Oh, we're grabbing now, so. Okay.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, I mean that would be a context in which you could push forward once grab is committed, but like leading up to that, absolutely insane.
Right, because it was basically the team's fault for not following up on that grab. Or I don't know, it might have just been a bad grab. I wasn't thinking about it from their perspective.
We were trancing, so that did help.
Oh, we tranced. Okay. And we're pushing.
Hey! We're still gonna die, though.
Super risky. Oh, run. Oh, she might make it in time.
I'm not sure. Oh, dear. There's a high nooning McCree. Yeah, we're all over the place.
Okay, but now we have to ask ourselves, like, is this where we want to be? Oh, no.
Again, the kite path that is towards the enemy team and not towards ours. So, like, there's no reason we should be heading this direction and not this direction.
Exactly.
I don't understand. It's it's like the slowest, most roundabout.
She got the sleep off the diva.
Yeah.
Lucky she didn't DM it.
Yeah, well, this is Diamond, and divas are notoriously boosted players, so.
Actually, yep. I'm curious how much I'm curious how much damage Ana has done versus healing. Oh yeah, can we see it?
Yes, we're gonna see it. So first off, can we just before we move along, what on earth is this?
I don't know. Can we go back a little bit?
Yes, I think he presses tab here.
Sorry.
Yes.
No, can we go?
Is this?
See, okay, so
yeah,
that is not a good ratio of damage to healing, in my opinion. That how long we've been in this game for 3.5 minutes? No, more than that, actually.
Yeah, a little longer than that. I would say probably 5 minutes. I think around 5 minutes.
And again, not to say context is everything. Like, if you were popping off, then this is fine. But we're seeing tons and tons of errors, and these stats show that that's the case.
I would, so you seem like you have, maybe it's more of your statistical and software, whatever background, but you put a lot of importance on stats, more so than I would expect from a coach of your caliber. Now, let's add context to that. Why do you, what type of stats are you looking at, and why do you look at those stats? And then, so just give me some more context in that regard.
Yeah, and actually, so context is the key word. It's like the context should be what, allows you to look at stats. Like, if you're just looking at stats before having context, that's probably a mistake, because you have to look at what the team comp was, what your enemy team comp was. You have to look at how you played it, how your team played those compositions, what the ult what the ult usage was like, etc., etc. So looking at these stats, we can see that, in my opinion, this Ana is focused way too much on dealing damage. And I'm just thinking about like this VOD so far, and there's a lot of times where she was prioritizing sleep darts, purple nades, which, by the way, actually I think prioritizing purple nades is actually really good. But we're seeing her focus too much, in my opinion, on dealing damage as opposed to healing up tanks. And we've seen a couple moments where she has not saved her allies when she could have.
Okay.
So that context is kind of showing me, okay, knowing that and looking at these stats, we can see that she's probably prioritizing, just focusing on enemies too much.
Right. So this might be a tough question to answer, and if you think it's beyond the scope of this video in terms of like time, keep being aware of time, that's fine. But you're good at this stuff. This is your job. You're good at stats. You know good stats when you see them, that sort of thing. You're a Diamond Ana. What can you read from this? How do you look at this and decide what's important, what's not, what's bad, what's good? How do you go about like looking at stats a little bit?
You mean if you're a Diamond Ana?
Right. So if you're the Ana here and you're reviewing your own VOD, what do you look at and go, ugh? Like, so how do you start doing that, I guess would be my question.
Man, that's hard, because the medal system is honestly garbage. It tells you so little. So what I would say is probably the most important thing is that your healing numbers are high. And again, it depends on the VOD, but if you're losing and let's say your healing numbers are low, and you know, this is all relative, but that's probably problem number one.
Mhm.
And it might not be that your Ana plays bad. It might just be that you're picking the wrong healer. Like maybe your team really needs a Zen or they need a Mercy or whatever the case may be. So in this case, I would say the biggest thing is that your healing numbers are a bit low. Like at this point in time, we've played the game for
5 minutes.
I think it's a little bit more than 5.
Really?
How much do you get for
Well, we can
for the
look. We
second
can look
point?
specific.
Is it
Oh,
2
you're right.
minutes?
I thought it was 1.5 minutes, but I think you're right. Yeah. So it's been 6 minutes. 6 minutes.
That sounds more about right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I would say her numbers for healing should be closer to like 4K.
Mhm.
What do you think?
No, I mean I'm not the statistician, but that sounds reasonable to me. Yeah.
Deaths, 4 deaths. That's a little bit high for having played the game. Actually, for 6 minutes, that's not horrible. Actually, again, this is just from like my own experience. I don't have like an Excel sheet or anything. And
Right.
Again, it's context, and again, the medal system is honestly really really annoying because it tells you so little. It'd be much better if we can compare it to your opponents and compare it to your allies, right?
Yeah, I think one stat that stands out to me for right now is our eliminations actually feel a little bit low, considering how aggressively we've been playing. And I think that
That's true.
I think
That's very
I
true.
think that could be a kind of a thinking moment where you go, okay, I've been playing this aggressive, and still I'm not getting eliminations for my team. So you don't have to sacrifice your ability to land those purple nades, to land those sleeps, to land those eliminations. You don't have to sacrifice your positioning to do that. You can still play in a good position and still land eliminations. Like I always coach Anna's, always, you are a damage sniper. You are a damage hero that just happens to always default to healing when your team needs it. But if you don't need healing, you should be killing the enemy team. And so I like seeing high elims. I like seeing high healing done. But we've been playing hyper aggressive, like ridiculously aggressive, and we only have 7 kills to show for it over 6 minutes. So that tells me we're either playing too aggressively to the point where we're dying before we're able to see those eliminations through, or going back to what you said in first point, we're playing in positions so aggressive that ironically it's hard for us to get anything done because our if our team is here, right, we're so our scope is limited to this. Whereas we've got enemies that are over here and over here and here, and so it's kind of we're missing a lot of the battlefield, especially because we were running like Doomfist and Tracer and stuff who were kind of fighting on their own and kind of doing so because their Ana was buried in her own Reinhardt on the other side of the shield sometimes. So okay, anything else to add before we resume?
Nope, we can keep going.
Okay.
They have no defensive ult. Hold on for me, and I can bomb to grab. I'm coming back now. There's a hog directly above you guys.
All right, so now we should be asking ourselves, who should we nano? And our whole team's dying.
Good timing. No, but we should have time to recontest. But
yeah,
it'll be close.
Well, is that a Tracer on the left? Yeah, she can touch, and then yeah. So actually, now given this context, you might actually want a nano Tracer. It depends on how quickly if they get 3 people on the cart, and if they can get it quickly. So nano Tracer is actually not a horrible idea here. If the fight resets and we actually have time to get a proper fight off, there's tons of options. You obviously have Nano Visor, you have Zarya, and you have Ryan. All of those are viable depending on the fight.
Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
So I would probably agree with you that Visor could work depending on the status of Matrix. I would probably lean towards either Tracer or Zarya. Zarya because they're not running a main tank, so a nano Zarya would absolutely melt a Diva and Hog. And they also have a Brig as well, so there'd be no shortage of options to melt. Whereas a Reinhardt might be too busy trying to chase targets around with the swinging his hammer. They don't really have a main tank that we can punish with that.
That's true, yeah. Yep.
Can you get me a heal, Ana?
Oh wow, she healed her teammate. Nice.
Yeah, all right.
Hit me.
Hit me, he says. So the Tracer asked for it specifically, which is why I think we okay.
Hit me.
This looks like 40 meters to me. I don't think Ana has to get nearly this close. What do you think?
Okay, so aggro positioning. I thought you were talking about the timing of the nano. Yeah, I don't think that you needed to. And
this looks like 30 meters maybe.
Yeah.
If she plays that corner, she can easily hit that nano.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's a good chance our Ana's just gonna die here.
Surprised we didn't go for the sleep as well. I think we were concerned about Matrix, but we see Matrix flashed there, and now the Matrix is gone. You could be sleeping right now.
And please stop jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lack of sleep dart. And,
Team is popping off though. That Nano Tracer and the Zarya.
The Nano Tracer was great.
Yeah, the Tracer and Zarya carried that one. Okay.
Yep.
I guess positioning has been a problem, but anything else that you've seen from this Ana that has consistently been awry, I guess, at least so far. We've got a couple more minutes left of gameplay, but anything that you would say so far has not looked super well, or looked super good, rather?
Let's see. So positioning is obviously the number one problem here. Absolutely, that's the case. Nanos. How many nanos did we get off? We got off the Tracer one, and then we had like a bad one
on the Rhine.
On the Rhine. Were those the only 2 nanos?
I'm trying to think. Was there anyone on...
Hit the tab?
Oh, nope. There was 2 bad ones on Rhines. There's 2 bad ones on Rhine. Remember the recontest where we nanoed the Rhine where it was just the Zarya? And then the second was where we nanoed a Rhine and he charged into the enemy backline on second. So...
Okay. So... I'm trying to think if there's some work that could be done there. To be fair, the Ana did recognize that bad nano. The other one, I'm failing to recall what it looked like.
I can go back a little bit. We can find it just so we can talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, and while you do that, I can talk about the Nano Tracer. So I'm hoping that this Ana like already realized that was the case. You mentioned that in the comms, the Tracer. Oh, this one.
Yes.
You mentioned in the comms that Tracer called for the Nano. So I'm hoping, though, that this Ana would have already known that was the play. Or even better, tell the Tracer, hey, I want to nano you. It's really important that, especially in between fights, that as an Ana player, we hit tab and we think, okay, who's the person that we nano? And, over time, it'll become faster and faster when you realize who's the target. Because obviously, we had like 5 minutes to talk about, here are the pros and cons. But over time, you want to get much faster and just, eventually you're just going to be relying on your gut.
Right.
But first have that exercise where you say, okay, who is my optimal nano target right now?
Okay. So what would you say are some factors that you do? Now, obviously, communication is key because you have to not only like prepare them for it, but remember people when they're nanoed, need to act in a different way, in a different manner, in a more aggressive manner to get more value out of it. So if you nano a Tracer versus you nano the Tracer, but you give her 5 seconds heads up, you're going to get way more value out of the latter.
Way more value.
But what other, like besides just communication, like who do you look to nano? Like what are some general guidelines? Because, a list is nice. Tracer, Genji, Wednesday, but like why those heroes? Why not others? What are your criteria for that?
So I guess the first thing to look at is if you can combo it with other ultimates.
Okay.
And again, it's all context. Like it really depends.
That's the word of the day.
Yeah, because you might be in a situation where you don't necessarily want to blow 2 ultimates. But of course, there's the classic Nano Blade, right?
Yes.
That's like the one where it's like, okay, you know what? Nano Blade is almost always a good call. Even if the enemies have beat or trance, it can still be countered. You can still kill squishies if it's done correctly. And then obviously there's moments where it makes sense to do a grab and you nano like a Rhine and they don't have shatter. You can just beat the shit out of them. There's lots of things to consider there. So I would say combos are probably the best, rather the first thing to think about. The second thing is, it's honestly just like a prioritized list.
Okay.
Where... So I'm trying to think who's probably like the easiest person to nano. I would say Winston like probably tops my list.
Okay.
Who would it be for you?
I just generally look for mobile heroes that can actually capitalize on it. So
and that's probably the better way to think about it is who can actually get into the fight and make sure they're contributing, right?
Who can contribute? So like a nano hog is fine, but hog it's gonna require him to hit hooks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to, like I think the thing with nano is you always go, who do I know is going to be able to find value? Not the nano widow who may or may not hit a shot, not the nano Hanzo who may or may not be able to hit shots. Not the trying to think of another example. You know, the Nano Ryan. Nano Ryan's depending could be decent, but if there's a situation where they're running like dive tanks, you know, he can't hit anything. They're all he's chasing them down. But like a Winston, Genji, Tracer, Sombra, like, you know, they're gonna be able to get value out of it. You know that they're always gonna be able to get value out of it.
Yeah.
So
I know I like the way you put it. I think mobility is the right way to think about it. It's like, who can actually get in there and actually do damage. And of course, you want to prioritize the characters who have like massive cleave and have the splash, like Zarya's and Ryan's and Winston's. But they also have to be able to get in there. And let's say you have a character like Ryan who, yeah, maybe he won't get in there, but maybe you have a Lucio, and now you have to coordinate a bit more and say, okay, I'm going to nano you, Ryan, but Lucio, can you save Amp for getting in there? And that's obviously a whole nother thing.
Right. You scared me, though. You said Lucio. I'm like, no. Like, no, not Boostio. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, sorry, quick tip for you Lucios out there. Please, when a nano play is being called, be mindful of just staying out of your Ana's way. Like, just do not get in front of her.
Yes, please.
Because that's almost always not the Ana's fault. It's almost always the Lucio's fault when he gets boosted.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes, I would. But now you're encouraging Lucio's ever to look for a nano and try and jump in front to receive it. They're like, sweet, now I know the strategy. Let's go.
I mean, to be fair, there's still some agency with the Ana. Like, don't put yourself in a position where Lucio is likely to jump in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really important when you're going to go for a nano to not just stand willy-nilly. Like, really think about, okay, where is the best play? Like, especially for actually Genji.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best example. When Genji's called for a nano blade, they almost always dash up. That's kind of like just the way to do it, because it's the simplest.
Right.
And it's the most likely to work. But sometimes you'll see Anas who it's like, wait, why are you standing right there? Like, he's asking for a nano. You should probably move to the left of your team a little bit, move back a little bit, and position yourself to make sure that it's very unlikely someone takes it, or that you don't have loss of him. So,
right.
Anyway.
Okay. Junkrat. Oh boy.
Daddy Junkrat. Now, is this
May.
pre or post patch?
Oh no. I believe. Let me look at the upload time of this video. So this is old patch, I believe.
Okay, so in this case, you have to be really mindful of those balls bouncing.
Okay.
Well, they also have a
So
tracer.
watch behind you.
Right.
Or rather, don't watch behind you, but don't stand too close to the walls behind you.
Ouch.
Was that May?
That's a May headshot. Yep.
Can we see that again?
Yes, we can. So May is sitting high ground, so we're kind of tunneled a little bit on the hog. We get body shot, and then May up here is just kind of lands the headshot.
So there's two ways to deal with this on Blizzard World, given this composition. The first is hug the hell out of your Rhine shield. And like we said, context is everything, because positioning in one situation could look dumb, but the same position could look really smart in another. So you could actually just super hug your Rhine and allow him to get into this general location where you're going to be safer. The other option is to stay way back and like by the gate and heal people from there. I'm trying to decide which I think is better.
I don't see a main tank on the enemy team, which means it's going to be difficult for this team to hold space, which means our Rhine is probably going to be less threatened. So I wouldn't be as... hugging my Rhine, I don't think is as dangerous now, because they don't have really a tank of their own to contest that space and to punish us being so far forward, if that makes sense. So I would probably say pushing forward here is decent, as long as we watch out for things like walls and hooks. I don't think there's a lot that can really punish aggressive positioning.
Right. Okay. So if we can go back, in that case, knowing that, so it's probably not. I think she scoped here for a bit. Can we see that again?
Yep, she was scoped in going for the hog.
They also have a tracer.
Right. So in this case, there's really not a whole like even these shots. Like if you left click these shots, you're still really likely to hit them. Right? Like,
yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I do want to say one thing too, is we're at the 340 mark and we still haven't pressed tab.
Yes,
I would say, like, one of the options that you said in regards to, okay, where should we be positioned? Should we position close or far back? They could be running a Sombra or a Tracer here, in which case hugging your Rhine would be the only option. You would not want to be isolated, but we don't know that because we didn't press tab. So again, we're not giving ourselves enough information. It's not that we're not smart, it's that we're not giving ourselves enough information to be able to make a correct decision.
Yep. Cool. Okay. So here, so just hug the shield, just left click for days. It's honestly it's super easy, right? Like a lot of times playing smart and just playing well is just playing like the dumb, simplest way you could possibly imagine. And it's not flashy, it's not sexy, it doesn't get you play the game.
Wait, it's not sexy? Okay.
It's not.
All right.
Nope.
Right.
But but it gets you SR.
Yes,
and
people
trying to climb.
Yeah, it's like widows that take all these crazy aggressive, like do all these like this and that, and like that's the thing. Like there's again context. Sometimes that's okay, but like widows, like I cannot hit any shots, but you know you're making things way hard for yourself to make the shots. Whereas GM players, not only are they good mechanically, but they make this kind of stuff easy for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yep. All right.
Ooh, sorry, got out. Nice.
Where's that Mei though? She killed us last time. I don't know where she is. I don't have access to sound. Okay, so this Ana's doing pretty well so far, given that she's just running around trying to heal people and she doesn't know what the fuck's happening. So props to her so far. I can't see a whole lot of what she can be doing better right now. She doesn't have Orion to stand behind. So one thing I will say is right here. Oh, but is she trying to heal that? Is that a Sombra on her screen? I can't quite see.
That is a Sombra, yes.
Okay, so I can't quite fault this Ana right now. She's doing her best to keep the team up. What do you think?
I think we're in a transition position right now. So we're going from one point to the next, but I think we're a little bit unsure on whether we're pushing up or going back. And I think that's sometimes where positioning errors happen. And that just is kind of unavoidable. Like, is my team pushing forward? If so, I need to be here. Is my team pulling back? If so, I need to be here. I think that's kind of unavoidable, just as long as we're very quick to make that decision in regards to whether we're pushing or falling back. So, like...
You're right. I agree. And go ahead.
So, Sombra's dead now. I think we need to be very decisively falling back now.
Yeah, and actually, I want to add one more thing. So, can you go back a little bit, like maybe 5 seconds?
Yep.
Yeah, so right here... I like that we're trying to heal this Zarya, but I think we could have just stood behind this rock. The reason I mention that is because since that Sombra, it's very rare, and obviously this is Diamond and the Sombra died, but that Sombra should not have died. That's on her. It shouldn't be your responsibility as Ana to especially with flankers, like with the exception of Genji. It's not really your job to keep them alive. It's 100% their job to do the right amount of damage before they recall, blink out, translocate, heal up, and go again. So don't, as Ana, assess your risk. It's not really worth it for you to try to heal a flanker who's not even depending or even thinking about you healing them. And if they are, then they're bad.
Right, because like you make the observation here is because we can heal the Zarya from here, but then we push forward. Exactly. I don't know if this is to heal the Sombra or not, but if it is to heal the Sombra, we go to heal the Sombra at the expense of our own safety, which the Sombra is equipped to deal with danger. You're not.
Exactly. Huge pick.
Yep. Yeah, you're right, though. Maybe she wasn't even trying to heal that Sombra. It looked for like a second like she was thinking about it, but that might not be the
Ana, what are you doing?
She's in front of the Zarya for a second. I love it. Oh no. Okay, so wait, go back real quick.
Oh boy.
So, go back again.
Yes.
Okay, so right here, let your Zarya go first, of course.
Naturally.
But secondly, who is that? I can't even tell who that is.
I don't know who that is either. I believe that's their Ana and Lucio.
Yeah, that's not Zen?
Yeah, it's Lucio.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
No, you're right. So, God, I have so many thoughts running through my head. Do you nade this? Do you sleep dart? You shouldn't even be here, first of all. But
so my thoughts are, we are down a couple. I would probably sleep first, nade afterwards, mostly because we don't have anything that can help heal us, and I always look at sleep as a more aggressive tool, nade as a more defensive tool when you're down a couple, because in this situation you really need to have nade just in case you take damage. Like if this, like watch what's about to happen, we missed the sleep, which sucks, but now we aggressively nade. Now there's a tracer in a backline, and so with a tracer on me, I would rather have nade available than sleep, personally.
Yeah, I think that's fine. But again, like the biggest problem was we just shouldn't even.
Right. We're making this way too hard on ourselves.
Like that Zarya, if you just let her go first, you're much more equipped to deal with this fight. And nice. Oh, holy shit! That
right to the wall. Beautiful.
Really well done.
Beautiful.
I almost have blade Pascal. I almost have.
No, definitely should have nanoed the Zarya here. Like you were saying earlier, we don't have a Lucio. Ryan's really slow. The only way he can get in is if he charges, which is horrible. Not to mention this loot. You can. I think that's Lucio on the right.
Yes.
The quality's really shit.
Yep.
He's probably gonna get booped right now. Definitely go for the Zarya.
And again, they don't have a main tank either. So like outside of the Hog, who's gonna get sped away, press E and just heal himself back at full. Who is your Ryan gonna be swinging on?
Yeah, and not just that. Like you said, we're down a couple, right? Like if we can keep track of the kill feed, which we absolutely should be doing, this was probably just a bad nano to begin with.
Yeah. Okay. So positioning bad, decision making bad, everything bad.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so now it looks like Anna's doing the thing we talked about earlier, where she wants to stay
Yeah,
back.
Nano,
Okay,
get
just
ready to
kidding.
go
No,
in
she's
5,
going
4,
forward
3,
and
2.
jumping along the way.
We
Okay,
did
so we got to pick on
We
Tracer.
did get a pick, yeah.
Yep. So that's good. We can get aggressive here. We don't have nano, which is really unfortunate because we messed up.
Oh
but that's okay.
no! The Genji is trapped.
Oh, you're right. He is trapped. That's hilarious. Okay, so let's heal him. He's probably gonna die here.
Okay, our Anna, by the way, is in chat, and they says they tried an Andozari but missed. So unfortunate.
Okay. Yeah, that sucks. Also, we're shattering, I think. Yeah, we're shattering, and we're also trancing. Okay, so we're doing everything.
Again, do
Okay,
we
let's go
have
sleep
to?
dark.
Do we have to be this close?
Right, we do not have to be this close, and we died to a tire. Yikes. All right.
I think that just a lot of honest that go, okay, my team is here, here, and here. I can see my team if I'm positioned here, or I can see my team if I'm positioned, here, right? Not just proximity, but like let's also say that there's like a little structure here, like there's a little box that we can hide behind, but there's no box at forward. And I swear, every Ana goes, I'm gonna go here.
Yeah.
But you have cover here, like you have. Like, I know that we're running the Tracer, and so we don't want to be miles away from our team, but there's cover, there's a corner, there's like, you have, if anything, better LOS because you have a wider scope, and we just walk into our Ryan's buttocks and just die.
Yep.
So.
And I will say this, like we talked about earlier, if our Ana pairs with the Zen, and now that I think about it, I haven't even seen Zen. If we paired up with him, that Tracer's not even a problem.
Right.
And not to mention, Tracers at Diamond are not one-clipping Anas. That is really, really hard.
Yes.
As Ana, you are very well equipped to deal with Tracers.
Yes.
Very, very well equipped. And not to mention, even this guy, Pascal, he's already hit like, what, 2 or 3 sleep darts on this Tracer? If she deals with, if she saves like some of her tools, at least one nade or sleep dart for a Tracer, she's probably going to be fine. At the very least, in time for her teammates to come help her, or for her to walk forward to get a harmony orb, whatever. And now this Zen swapped to Lucia, which is really good.
Yeah, Lucia makes a lot more sense to this composition now. We have a McCree, we have a Rhine.
Yeah,
No, like,
yeah. So now you have a pretty stable backline.
Okay, so now how do we adjust her? Like, do we play more aggressively now? Do we play more defensively now that we have a Lucio?
Can we see Tab again?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so they're running Junkrat May. Oh god, that's like hell, especially in this level.
Yep.
Okay, so a couple thoughts here. First is wall and nade spam are going to be really tough to deal with, in my opinion. If you stay, like we talked about those two options in the beginning, stay really far back by gate, heal from afar, and then move forward as it makes sense to, or just hug your Rhine shield to get up into position, and then from there find a corner, post up, and heal.
Yes.
Because of nade spam and walls, I think the second option is going to be a little bit too dangerous. She's going to have a hard time. Well, it actually depends on where they are. So
yeah, it depends on where they choose to take the fight. Like, you could hug your Rhine as you're posturing up, and then once you see, okay, the wall is a threat now, serious spam is a threat now, I'm going to find that corner that we talked about within line of sight of my team.
Right. So I would play in such a way where wherever the Junkrat and May are focusing their spammy, shitty abilities that are really annoying.
Yeah.
Try to play away from that. And like, it kind of sounds stupid when I say it like that. So let's play it, and then we'll kind of talk about where that position looks like.
Right.
All right. So Ryan fell off. Okay. Good job. Let's see.
No, like I watched it drop.
Okay, so where are they? Okay, so May's on high ground. Where's the Junkrat?
Trap me as soon as it hit the ground.
So in this point in the game, hug a little closer.
Okay, so this is okay. I do not like that we're splitting here. Okay, but actually, it looks like our tank's crossed over to the right side, and May. This isn't a very good wall, so this is actually really good for us. So right here, that being said, wait, the Junkrat's still to our right, right? So we kind of have to be mindful of that.
Yep, he could drop and 2-tap you.
Exactly. So now you're kind of in a position where cool, you have sightlines on Mei, you're about to have sightlines on Ryan, but that Reinhardt is still, or sorry, that Junkrat's still up to your right. So can we go back a little bit more?
Yes, we can.
So I think we made a mistake here. So by splitting with our tanks, we've already made our first mistake where, okay, well, actually, it's good that you have this tracer on your right, because otherwise this tracer would be on your ass. But anyways, still better to be on the left side.
Right.
So I think that's mistake one. So let's keep playing. So yep, that Junkrat's still up there. Okay, I like that this Ana's moving forward. I think you got to keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward.
There's a pick.
Huge pick, and it looks like the Junkrat's moved.
Okay.
Ana's on top.
Now this is where we ran into problems last fight, where we were like, okay, we got to where we wanted to be in terms of point. Now we need to immediately find a spot. So our team is going to be taking, I mean, obviously we're naded, so we're going to fall back for a brief moment. But once we push back in, we don't want to be here, correct? We would like to be here instead.
Yep, okay. Exactly. By that barrel. There's also, I think there's even more space behind them. I'm failing to remember exactly.
Yeah, there's like some poles and mega and yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, point being, to your left, there's tons of, oh no. Ooh. Can we see that again?
Yeah, that was, actually you could see him just out of the corner of your screen. But yeah, you want to, yeah, okay. So that was a good flank from their hog.
Very good flank. And again, actually, and if you can pause for a second, had the Ana been close, like had she again hugged that Rhine shield as she moved up and stayed to the left side, she probably would have already been in the spot she wants to be, and then she's far less likely to have to first off to get flanked by that hog, but she also would have seen the hog, because like we mentioned earlier with sightlines, right? If you position yourself in a way where you're basically like 180 away from your team, from the enemy team, then you'll see the flanks coming from a mile away. Whereas this Ana keeps putting herself in positions where she has to look left, she has to look right, she has to heal people, she has to do damage, right? So anyways, as
the fight rotates, you generally want to, like you said, 180 degrees. You want to be putting yourself across the enemy team. So if you're lagging behind here, so like if we erase this arrow, then that's how flanks happen. You know what I'm saying? So like this is how you get caught off guard right there, when you don't rotate properly.
Right. Oh, and actually, sorry, to go back to what we talked about earlier about the Junkrat and the Mei, we talked about putting yourself in a position where you're trying to kind of stay away from all of that, because they can be very oppressive characters, especially when you're trying to transition into a good space.
Yes.
So and since we saw, okay, the Mei was on the right, the Junk was on the right, we go left.
Yes, good observation. Yes.
So anyways, cool. So let's keep this playing.
One.
All right, so.
Lucio
man.
The quality just dipped for me. I can't see shit.
Yeah.
Is it bad for you too?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay. So they nano Mei. We're up a couple though. I don't know if I like this nano, but whatever.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Like this is probably like our second or maybe best nano actually. Actually no, the tracer one was definitely better than this.
Okay. And this is where we're grateful they just Mei ulted. This is where we're grateful where we have at least a little bit better positioning than we did last time, because otherwise we would have been caught in Blizzard.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. The fact that we're hugging this barrel is huge, or boxes, whatever. This is great. Don't need to go this forward though. Again, we don't really need to be here.
And again, like you said, now we're looking behind us. Now we're looking this way. Now we're looking this way. We're out in the open. It's meaningless.
And Rhine Shield's about to crack. Cool. Get a sleep dart. Let's get that sleep dart. Whatever. He's dead. I don't mind that sleep dart. Okay. So let's get this point. Just stay point. Just get the point, and then you can push forward. And your tracer's dead. Okay. So now you're down an important flanker. Lucio, what are you doing? No, there's no point. Why do this? No, this is so bad.
And we're done.
Okay. So now we're gonna go back to the concept we talked about earlier. We're just super aggressive positioning. It almost feels like this Ana only has one mode, and that's forward. Whereas to kind of talk to bring up what you were talking about earlier at like the GM level. Players, they know they have very specific reasons when they can push up and versus when they stay back.
Run.
This Ana.
Run! Oh my gosh! Please! Oh, yeah. Dear me.
Yeah. So actually, if you want to go back a little bit.
Sure.
Right here, yeah, there's no way you're gonna save this Ryan. He's dead. To be fair, they did lower the wall damage to 400, right?
Yes.
But it looks like you don't have any help to destroy this.
Well, it will only take 6 shots, right? Which should take, right. We'll get it. Yeah. No, it's just the thing is like positioning isn't just about keeping yourself alive. It's about keeping your teammates alive, because our Ana is putting herself in positions where it is so hard to see what's going on and to help your individual teammates with what they're doing, because your scope is so limited with how jam-packed you are. You're not playing goats. You're not playing goats, so you don't know where your team is going to be. You don't know where the enemy team is going to be. So you're limiting the amount of information that you can glean from what's on your screen.
Yeah, and I think it's brilliant the way you put it. It's like not only putting yourself in danger, because it's good, right? Because you understand, okay, you're putting yourself in danger. So now you can't even take care of yourself, and now you can't even take care of your teammates, right? So it's like a double whammy where this positioning is costing yourself problems and it's costing your teammates problems. All right. So this is a good spot right here. This is pretty good. You have so much vision. You see you see one enemy, you see 2 teammates, you see 2 teammates, that's a total of 4.
Yep.
You don't have to move your camera too much. This is great. Right here is where you want to be. And then as the fight progresses, as it devolves, as you lose, as you win, you move forward, you move back, you move left, right. But right now, this is in an obscenely good spot.
Right. Our Ana says that I'm a former Ryan main, by the way. Keep forgetting my S key exists, so I can relate with that. That was quite literally my career. Used to be a main tank main that transitioned to flex support, so I know the struggle.
Their tracer. She's coming behind you guys.
Good nade.
Ryan, why does he do that?
What do you mean, why does he do that? It makes perfect sense. Feed. This is the simplest way.
So Ana, you've been doing. This was a good fight for you overall, but I'm really sad that Ryan charged in. So call you Ryan.
So and this is one of those situations where like I feel like we pushed. I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to assume that we pushed forward because we wanted to assist our Reinhardt, not because we were being hyper aggressive.
Yeah, and by the way, you don't. That's not even necessarily your job, in my opinion. You have 4 other teammates you can perfectly heal. Yeah. That Reinhardt went off on a solo mission. Let him die. And I think that's something really important to kind of talk about as a concept, is that especially in solo queue, because this happens all the time, your teammates are going to make really dumb mistakes, and then when they do that, you have 2 options.
Yep.
Make the mistake worse, go and try to be like, oh well, I was trying to help you, or whatever the context is, or play off of their mistakes. The enemies they might turn their back, they might go and do something stupid based off of that, and then you can capitalize.
Right. It's important to note here that it's just the Rhine feeding. It's not your team. If your team is feeding, then yeah, you got to feed too. But if your Rhine is feeding, then, like you said, you have 4 other people that you could be helping right now. So
right, exactly. Yeah, and then there's a good chance that the enemies will just go and chase that Rhine. They have their backs turned. Easy kills.
So your Rhine is doing his job accidentally.
Just keep fighting together.
Yeah. Well, or the enemy's smart and they just kill him. Anyways, this is good for
I hate Maze so much. Holy cow.
Wait, can you go back?
Yes.
Did we get booped? How did we get
Hog ult from behind. I forget that you don't have audio. So it boops off for sleep.
Okay. Right. Okay. That's fine.
And then May typical May stuff, trying to just mouse one brainlessly. Hate that hero, man. May and Bastion can jump off a cliff for all I care.
Oh, Bastion, but he's so cute. He makes beat boop sounds.
Yes, it's.
Okay, so that was a great fight by Ana. Probably one of your best fights. I would model future fights based off that fight. Of all of them, that was probably my favorite in terms of positioning.
Nice.
You played it pretty well.
Okay, I don't like our positioning. Now I know we're kind of dealing with a tracer now, but even preemptively, why are we not here, but why are we here? This just seems odd.
Yeah.
Just little things like this. We have to be strict on that. You gotta stay on top of it.
Yes, I like that pull behind you, or hugging that corner that's to the back right of you. I think either of those could be okay in this specific situation. What do you think?
I think that's fine. I mean, this is definitely an awkward place, but you could find a way to make it work.
Yeah, you just gotta find those corners. Just a little environment. Either of those 2 places would have been fine. Yeah, that little corner right there. Find a pull to post up against.
We're looking for a nade. I can tell we're looking for a nade right now.
Because they just lost their tracer died, right?
Yes.
And we're up, so we have momentum here. See, so this is a moment where as Ana, it's perfectly okay to look for aggressive nades, aggressive sleep darts, 100%, because your team has momentum.
I would say that like swinging wide here is fine, but I would immediately move into this small room right here for this flank. Like you still want the cover for this sort of aggression.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's good about this spot, right? Is that we're not just out in the open.
Right.
We actually have cover. And that's what makes this play good. We have momentum. We're looking for aggressive angles, but we're still protected by the environment.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll see how this
No,
works.
no. The Junkrat is rip tiring as we speak.
All right. And okay, so it's dead now. Keep backing up. This is good. Break that shield. Look for sleep dart. Very nice. It was a little sloppy, but you did it.
A little too much of a panic there, but that's okay. All right, we're just dying. No, no.
So okay, I will say this: that getting that in the face of Junkrat isn't horrible if you had nade here, because you can. You actually he did die. That being said,
we needed to survive.
Yeah, there's no reason to. Like, there's literally no reason to walk into this Junkrat, even if you do have nade.
Yeah.
And even if you could kill him, just back up. Junkrat he's horrible at medium distances, absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So you could just backpedal here.
So this is a gamble with the nano, but it could theoretically work out if we survive. If we survive. Yeah. Thank you for the bits, Doom. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course he has the shield, and that's going to eat at least 1 or 2 left clicks.
Yeah. So I don't know that nano is going to be paying off. Unfortunately, what's probably going to happen is we're going to panic grab and lose the fight anyway.
Monkey one.
Are we?
Yeah,
or is there?
No,
Zarya's pulling back. Good. Okay, we held on to it. Oh, we didn't even have it yet. Okay. You're 87%.
Oh, actually, all right. So we don't have nano. That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and we're high nooning. And we're not going to get a team fight again, are we?
Yeah, actually, you're right. It looks like it. Yeah, Ryan's dead.
Yikes.
There. And that's game. That is game. Unless Lucio has to touch.
Come on, big nade. Oh, Lucio's not going to touch. Ooh.
He didn't even touch. That's bad.
Okay. So I always like to try and pull up the black screen afterwards for us to discuss like which 2-3 things specifically need improvement on. What would you say were your top 2, I guess?
Top 2 is obviously position is number 1, 100%.
Okay, so let's stop there because you're about to answer my question for me. So like not just positioning, but what about the positioning was bad, I guess.
So I think like something that I mentioned earlier, it feels like this Ana only knows one type of positioning, one style, which is aggressive forward, aggressive angles, aggressive nades, aggressive sleeps, trying to put herself in position where she's getting around enemy shields, around the corners. And that's fine. It's good to master that style. Now I need you to master not that you've mastered the aggressive style, but now I need you to start practicing the more passive, boring defensive style where you're healing the hell out of your teammates. It's really hard for the enemies to get to you. They have to expend a lot of resources to get to you. You're by your Zen, you're by your McCree. They're scared to get to you. They have to switch to dive tanks to get to you. Like you're in such good positioning where your enemies don't know how to get to you, and so they're forced to attack your tanks all the time.
Right.
Okay. So practice that style, and then you'll start to realize, oh, okay, this is when I can get aggressive because we have momentum, and this is when I have to play more defensive. I have to play by corners more, things like that.
Okay, and then like you said, corners I guess would be part of that, because part of the problem wasn't just so much that we were playing aggressively in regards to like our proximity to the tanks. It was the proximity to the tanks and the fact that we were out in the open as well. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
And then things like abandoning high ground. Like let's not forget the very first thing this Ana did was like drop high ground to heal a Doomfist, I think.
Yep.
That was silly. Just stay up there until and this also goes back to the tab thing. Like keep pressing. This wouldn't be my number 2, but maybe as a number 3, hitting tab more, thinking about who can I nano, and then also who can where can I position, because the tab is going to inform your decision making, right? It's going to give you a structure to be like, okay, they have a widow. All right, you know what? Maybe I don't want high ground.
We're gonna get some. We're gonna get some fancy stuff going on here. Hang on. Here we go. Okay. Wait. Yeah, there we go. Tab influences positioning. That's a fancy little chart there.
and it'll also influence number 2, which for me is too much panic nanoing. I think we saw 2, maybe 3 panic nanos. One was on that Rhine, who was like at half health. One was on Zarya just now, and there might have been 1 or 2 others. So I would say, because there are times when you have to save someone with nano, but I would say two things. The first is look at the kill feed, and this is a really hard thing for, I think, people like below masters to do. Is during a team fight, if you can practice just every once in a while glancing at that team at that sorry, what is it called, the
Kill feed.
the feed, yeah, the kill feed. If you can do that, that's going to help you so much, because that's going to reduce, actually the main thing is going to do is going to reduce those panic nanos. That's probably the biggest thing it's going to do, in addition to many other things, like just knowing how to position and knowing when you have momentum versus when you need to fall back. But really, it's going to stop those panic nanos. So I would say that's holding you back, because there was that one like Genji who you could have nano bladed, and maybe you could have won that fight had you bladed him. But to be fair, he did fall in a trap. But again, stats, right? Like you're gonna, the smarter decisions you make, the more likely you are to win more games, and you will then win more games.
How would you train this, I guess would be my question. How would you do? We've discussed a lot of stuff. What would you have recommendations in actually training the material that we've gone over?
So number one, absolutely, is to practice, like we said, that more defensive, boring, non-flashy style, where you're finding a location, you're sitting up there or down there, wherever the case may be, maybe by a mini. You're looking for environments, and you heal your teammates from there. That's number one. Practice the heck out of that. Like just play 4 or 5 games in a row where you deliberately force yourself to just do that, and you might hate it, but maybe you'll fall in love with it. I don't know. And practice that. And then from there, you can start to mix in more of the aggressive style.
Okay.
And just verbalize that, say that out loud, and tell yourself that you're going to do that. And I think that'll help. So yeah, I think that's key.
Okay, perfect, man. I really appreciate you coming on.